Shalom, good evening. Welcome to the In the Pursuit of Truth. And we're going to be daily meditating on the Word again. And what I want to meditate on is refreshment of our mind, right? To be refreshed is to speak, right? And the Spirit is the Word, and the words give life, right? So when we are listening, or as listeners, we absorb a lot of Spirit, whether that may be positive or negative, right? That's why when we are trying to refresh ourselves, right? Because the world is fleshly, right? And when the world is fleshly, we become fleshly as well. We are more tempted to our flesh rather than the spirit, right? That's why the spirit must overwhelm the flesh that we may get washed away, right? The spirit is in us, right? And the flesh is external. So in order to get showered with that spirit is to what? Speak about it, talk about it, right? And to talk about it showers our flesh, right? It makes our spirit as number one in our mind. It makes our spirit conquerors of our mind and flesh, right? Because when the flesh overwhelms the spirit, we have the tendency to commit sin. That's why we must always let the spirit get ahead of our flesh before the flesh gets ahead of our spirit. Because when the flesh gets ahead of our spirit, we are more closely inclined to committing sin. Sin is the transgression of the law. So I remember to always meditate. That's what I'm trying to practice. I want to build that pleasurable foundation in refreshing my mind by meditating daily, that I may always be addicted to this fulfilling pleasure rather than the fleshly pleasure, right? Because when the fleshly pleasure overcomes us, we are more inclined and close to building a habit of sinning, right? And that's not pleasing to the Most High. Must be pleasing to the Most High by keeping the law, right? Because the law is spiritual, and when you're keeping the law, you will become more spiritual. And when you are more spiritual, you are more able to overcome your flesh, right? Yes, we will have a lot of setbacks, knockdowns, right? But a righteous man will stand up again. And this is how I stand up, because there's a lot of temptations around there. The world is full of distractions. Sin is, or temptation is more very subtle, right? You will never notice that it is coming already. And next thing you know, you are trapped in that quicksand temptation, and it is almost impossible to beat it. It requires a lot of energy, strength, and focus. Despite, it's better to put your energy on building something meaningful rather than daily fighting it, right? That's why daily meditate instead, to increase your spirit and to lessen and minimize your flesh. And that's how we will overcome this, right? Proverbs 24:5 says that to lose in adversity is to lack knowledge, right? The knowledge is to have words or wisdom in our minds, right? A lot of thoughts. When you are armed with thoughts and words, you are able to become more spiritual, then thus making you able to overcome the flesh. And that's why make the spirit your number one in your head. Make the stronghold of the Lord stand in your mind, because it is very important in times of adversity, right? Nahum's 1 and 7. So that's all for this daily meditation. I will try to post this every day. I may win this battle of mine by making my spirit number one versus the flesh. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Tawada.